Hi everyone, I'm Sonia Schofield and today I'm going to be talking to you about ageless beauty and how we can use makeup to make us look younger. I'm not going to be putting makeup on myself today. I'm going to be joined by professional model Rachel Peru via Zoom. So since lockdown I've not been able to do my makeup tutorials in my studio here like I usually would, so I've been doing them online and it's been working really well, so I thought that would be a really good opportunity to show you today how that works. So Rachel has just turned 50 and she's only been modelling for a few years. She did a really amazing campaign in the Bahamas a few years ago with Lizzo and Ashley Graham in a campaign, Swimwear for All. So all different body shapes, ladies of all different ages, and it was a really positive campaign and that has launched her career. She's done lots of modelling work now and commercials, and yeah, just a really positive role model. I started working with Rachel at York Fashion Week as part of the Silver and Sassy campaign, and that was all about embracing your grey hair. So yeah, really positive role model for older ladies. She's got her own podcast where she is celebrating midlife and ageing, and I think, yeah, it really inspires me. So yeah, I've really enjoyed working with her. So we've already spoken about this lesson that we're going to do today. I've already seen, via Zoom, not in real person, I've already seen what brush she's got, I've seen what makeup she's got. So we can just go straight into the lesson now and yeah, get straight to it. Hi Rachel, I've been telling everybody all about you. So if you just want to tell us a little bit about what you want to get from this lesson today, what you'd like me to teach you.
Morning, Sonia. So yeah,
Hello.
with modelling, especially now that I'm doing more shoots from home, I'd really like to try and learn more about perfecting that polished look, that natural kind of healthy glow look. Especially when we go to castings, it's usually in the daytime and people want you to look natural and kind of have that fresh look. So I'd like to polish that if possible.
Yeah, okay. And with makeup, is there anything in particular, sort of with your eyes or your lips or anything like that, that you think that, I could teach you some like little tricks and tips?
Yeah, I've noticed that. I mean, I'm 50 now and I've noticed that my face is changing. So I have got, my eyes are slightly drooping more and I'd like to try and keep them looking more open. My lips are getting thinner. So is there any tips on trying to make your lips look a bit plumper? And just
Okay.
keeping the skin looking fresh really as I'm aging.
Yeah, okay, yeah, well, we can do all of that. Now, I've already explained to everybody that we've had a little look at your products, so we know exactly what we're going to use today, what brushes that you've got, so we can just get straight on with it because you've got everything ready, haven't
I've
you?
cleaned all my
Right,
brushes, so I'm ready to go.
brilliant, right, okay, so we'll start off with the eyes. That's what I tend to do first, because then if any eyeshadow drops down, we can clear it away and then get that base absolutely perfect at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to do is put some sort of base on your eyelids. So have you got like a little foundation that you can just put on your
Yes.
eyelids?
Yeah.
Yeah. So ideally, an eyeshadow base would be better, but I know you don't have one at the moment, but that's something that you could invest in a
Yes.
little bit further down the line.
Yeah.
So a little bit of foundation on the eyelids, that's going to take out any redness, any of the little blood vessels that you've got there, any sort of pigmentation. It's going to give us a nice canvas to build up the other products on. So what I would do now you've got the base on, get a fluffy brush.
Yes.
And just put a little bit of loose powder or pressed powder to set it.
Okay.
So then that's going to give it a matte finish so that you can blend the eyeshadows on top of it easily, and it's going to help it stay in place.
Am I right in thinking that too much powder on older skin can be a bad thing?
Yes, it can be really. I try to use a lot more gel or cream liquid
Mm.
formulas on the skin. With the eyes, like cream eyeshadows are quite good because they have that matte finish. Basically, you kind of want to be using more matte finishes, because it's when you use that shimmer and sparkle, that's when, you know, if you've got like crepey skin, I think, you know, it sort of looks a little bit like crepe paper. If you have any sort of shimmer, that just really highlights it. So on the eyes, we want to keep it nice and matte.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So powder's not really an issue on the eye, just a light powdering.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Any sort of heavy powdering is very aging. So, so you've done that now, haven't you,
Yes,
with your prepping the eyes? So then we're going to take your bronzer.
Yes.
And sort of a fluffy eyeshadow brush. I've just washed mine, so mine's a little bit wet actually, but I'm not using mine at the moment. So then you're going to take your bronzer and put it in the crease, but not just in the crease, but slightly above as well, and do it with your eye open. So have your eye open to the mirror so you can see where you're putting it, because when you get older and your eyelids do droop, that crease isn't really so visible. So when you put it slightly above the crease, that is kind of faking the crease, if you know what I mean. It's lifting the eye and bringing that crease up higher. It's kind of like a bit of an illusion. Right, so you've done that. So then so that's gonna, what that's done, that bronzer, is that shaped, sort of contoured, given more shape and depth to the eye. So then you're going to take like a sandy sort of camely colour, and we're going to put that on the eyelid. So using the same brush.
Using the same brush?
Yeah, using the same brush. So just on the actual lid, so above the lash line, and taking it to meet where you've put that other colour. So it's a nice light colour. It's going to sort of brighten the eye. I think if you use too darker colours, it's going to close the eye up even more. So we're wanting it to look nice and bright and fresh. Yep, so when you've done that, what you can do is just wipe the excess off on the back of your hand, and then go into the crease a little bit like a windscreen wiper, and just blend those two colours together. It's all about it not looking like makeup, you know, so it looks like a kind of natural shadow there. So if you join the two together, it's not going to be that obvious. And what you can do, now you've wiped that excess off, just have a bit of a blend across the top of where you put that bronzer, just so that that fades out really nicely, so it doesn't look like a harsh line. Okay, so then you've got a little brush like that, haven't you? A little stubby eyeshadow brush. Yeah, is that the one we had?
That's the one, yes. Oh, no, hang on. That one, yeah, that's it.
Perfect, that's the one. So then take your bronzer again and put a little amount on the brush, and then you're going to brush it through the lower lashes.
This is a really good tip. I like this, because I'm scared of using eyeliner as I've got older, because it can make me look older. But having this just gives it a much softer look, doesn't it?
It does, and it gives that little bit of soft definition under the eye. And I think with it being the bronzer as well, it just kind of makes the eyes look brighter as well against the bronzer. Bronzer is absolutely brilliant, because you can use it obviously to contour the face and bronze, but I really like to use it in the crease and under that lash line, because then this is like a contour for the eyes when you're using the bronzer like this. Because it's creating shadow and depth. So yeah, it is really good. I do use it a lot on the eyes. Okay, so you've done that. So then you need to take an eyeliner brush, a really thin eyeliner brush. Yeah, okay. So then you need to take a dark brown eyeshadow.
So I'm going to use that dark one.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. You could also use sort of a dark grey, but to be honest, I think on you, brown's a nicer colour. It's a bit softer, but what I would say is don't do black. I think when you are getting older, I think black looks really harsh. If I put black on me now, I just think, oh, it's too harsh for me. And if I put softer brown on it, it gives me the same definition. But yeah, just a bit softer. So you can use it straight away, dry as it is. If you want to intensify it a little bit more, you could spray a bit of setting spray on it or
Right.
dampen the brush with water. But yeah, just one little spritz, and
Yeah.
it just gives you a little bit more control, I think, where you're putting it. And then, yeah, so take a little bit of the product, and then you need to be using it as a liner across the top of the lashes. So you don't need to worry about doing a straight one continuous line. You're just getting a little bit on the brush at a time, and you're just sort of scribbling it into the roots. Okay. So it's, if you're not good at liner, this is really good because you don't have to do a
Yeah.
straight line. You're just
I've
building up.
never, I've never been able to do the black. Even when I was younger, I could never do that black eyeliner kind of look. Just didn't have a
Yeah.
steady enough hand. Whereas this, it's much easier to do and quicker to do, and
Yeah.
softer.
And if you do go wrong, you can just get another brush that's, you know, slightly bigger than this one and just give it a blend, and then it softens the whole thing. So even if it's not completely straight, you just go in with a brush afterwards and soften the whole thing till it looks straighter.
And do you do the whole line right up to the edge of your eyelashes?
So do you mean into the inner corner?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I do is I go all the way across, and then when I get into the inner corner,
Yeah.
I'm sort of scribbling it more inside the eye, so it's a finer line, so it goes out even finer as it
Yeah.
gets into the inner corner. But yeah, try and go all the way along,
Yeah.
and then right to the outer corner. You could lift it out slightly. That's kind of going into winged liner territory,
Yeah.
which can be a little bit more difficult with a hooded eye, but you absolutely can do it as long as you look forward when you're doing it, so it's not disappearing. If you do it with your eyes shut, the line will just disappear.
Yeah,
But
I
you
end up
could,
lines going downwards.
yeah, you could lift it ever so slightly, like a tiny little tick, and that will give a little bit of lift to the eye. So you've done both eyes
Done
now.
those, yeah.
Yeah. Then that brush that you used before, the little stubby one that you did
Yeah.
the bronze underneath,
Yeah.
you can now softly buff across the top of those lines. And that's going to soften the line even further, because what we're wanting to do is we're wanting it to give definition, but we're wanting it to look like this is part of your eye, that you've got a thicker lash line and not necessarily got eyeliner on even. It's like kind of no makeup look.
Yeah.
And did you find that all right to do?
Yeah, really easy, really quick and easy. Yeah.
It's quite effective, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I can see it's already made a difference.
Yeah. Okay. So then let's do, have you got the light colour to put underneath the brow bone?
Yes.
If we do that now.
So what kind of colours do you want on your eyebrow? Just
So
really
on the
light.
brow bone, so we're not doing the eyebrow now, but you know this part here?
Yeah.
Highlight. Yeah, so there, like ivory or bone, not pure white because it's a bit too stark.
Yeah.
But it will depend on everyone's skin tone as well, because if you've got you know, darker skin tones, obviously if you put ivory on, that's going to be too light. So then they would have sort of a more, you know, like a beige or a brown or something that brightens. They need something lighter if you've got a dark skin. But yeah, so for you, like an ivory colour would be perfect. So just sort of off-whites, but yeah, it will vary with different skin tones. So yeah, so you've put that just sort of under the arch, and that's going to lift the eye and give a bit of highlight to that area. Okay, so if we do brows now.
Right.
Your brow pencil.
Now, I'm happy to, I've swapped, because yesterday we were looking at them and I had the Studio 10, but I snapped it yesterday, so I'm now on my Bobbi Brown one, but I need more stuff.
Yeah, what colour have you got?
Brown, like a brown, yeah, dark brown.
I've got mine as well, that's really weird. Got it in mahogany, but it's great. Is it the one with the brush on the end?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So give your eyebrows a little groom, brush the hairs up and sort of diagonal.
What I find difficult now as I'm getting older, keeping that nice brow shape to give my eyes a lift. I find it really difficult to get the shape right.
Yeah. So I'll teach you how to get the right shape. So where it needs to start, Rachel, so if you get your brow pencil or a makeup brush, actually, if you get a makeup brush, sort of skinny one,
Yeah.
and put it from the outside of your nostril to the inner corner of your eye. That's going to show you where the eyebrow should start. Is yours there, would you say?
One side is nearer than the other.
So that gives you a good guideline. So what you can do is get your brow pencil while you've got that and just do a tiny little dot, a little mark, just as a guide for you to show where to start. I think we all have wonky eyebrows.
Yeah.
There's that thing where people
so
say that your eyebrows aren't twins, they're sisters. So
I like that.
they're never identical. Yeah. So then when we need to find the arch, so the outer the outer part of your nostril, and then to the outer of your pupil. So looking straight forward.
Yeah.
And that's where your arch should be. So make a little mark there.
So that's quite far back, isn't it? I always think it's in the middle, but it's not. It's quite outwards, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Because otherwise, if it was in the middle, it would be like two triangles.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I'm the same. Like especially when you're a teenager, I had no idea. I just thought, right, I want an arched eyebrow. So I thought, right, let's just do it dead in the middle. But it's not. Then obviously everybody's really different as well. It depends, if your eyes are sort of nearer together or further apart, then it might need to sort of differ slightly. And then some people have just got naturally very straight eyebrows, and that's really good as well. So it depends whether you want the arch or not. But this is generally a good way of, if you haven't got a clue, it's a good way to start as a bit of a guide. So you've got where the arch is. So then the outside of the nostril to the outer corner of the eye, and that should show you where it will finish.
Right. Okay.
And do a little mark there.
Yeah.
Because your eyebrows are actually fine.
They just
at the beginning.
At the outsides downwards they've thinned.
Yeah. So you can just, now you've got that guide where it should finish. If you just do sort of natural little brush strokes following that line.
It does make a massive difference. I never used to even do anything with my eyebrows, even till maybe 5 years ago. And now it's, if I don't do anything else, I always do my eyebrows.
Yes. Same with me. I just look odd without them.
Yeah.
But I'm the same as well. It's become a bit more of a thing. If I look back at my wedding photos, I've just got these really, really skinny, thin eyebrows. But at the time, that was the thing. Like, it didn't matter. Yeah, so if you put, like you've done, so you're putting the product through the eyebrows, and then at the end, if you give them a good brush, that's just going to soften the whole look.
Yeah, looks better.
Brilliant. So we've done the eyeshadow, your brows, and your eyeliner. So we just need a bit of mascara now. What you could do, you don't have to do this now, but I found it really useful, blasting my eyelash curlers with my hairdryer to warm up the metal, and it just really helps to keep the curl longer in the eyelashes, and it just lifts them even more. So maybe have a go at that.
Yeah, I will do that. Really good tip.
Yeah, I'd heard about it and just never really tried it, but when I did do it, I've noticed that the curl just stays there such a long time. Yeah, so this is just going to really open the eye out. Right, and then just give some coat of mascara.
And again, with mascara, is black okay? Do you think when you get older, can you still use black mascara? I mean, I do. I either wear a brown,
I think
brown
so.
or.
To be honest, I think you can. I think you can get the brown mascaras. I think black is the most defining colour to use. But yeah, you could go dark brown if you felt like it was a little bit softer, but definitely I think black's fine.
I've noticed a massive difference by putting that eyeshadow just above as a line. When you put your mascara on, it's much more defined. It's really nice.
Yes. Yeah, and it looks part of the eye, doesn't it? It
Yeah,
doesn't
it
look
does.
like.
Yeah, yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, it's really making your eyes stand out
Mm.
without looking too heavy. Right, so we'll move on to base now.
Right.
So what you could do, if you find that you've got any eyeshadow that's dropped down here,
Yeah.
at this point, you could get a cotton bud. Don't worry if you haven't got one now. Get a little bit of eye cream and just gently, yeah. So I would put a tiny bit of eye cream on my cotton bud, and I would remove anything that's fallen down, any eyeshadow. You've not used eyeliner, but yeah,
No.
it might be fine because we've dampened the brush. That sort of stops getting that fallout that you would get. So that's just in case you did. So now, if foundation wise, if you just get you've already done your skin, haven't you?
I have. I've got
Moisturised.
my moisturiser on, my eye cream on. I've got some Vaseline on my lips. Yes, I'm prepped.
Okay, and we did have a bit of a chat, didn't we, yesterday when we
We
had our
did. So I've only been
consultation?
using Factor 15, and I am going to go out and buy some day cream that's Factor 50 because that's really
Yes.
bad of me to not be looking after my skin. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, that is going to be the best thing that you can do to
Mm.
protect your skin and stop any further aging. You know,
Yeah.
people go out and they spend hundreds of pounds on serums, but if they're not putting a high factor on their skin all year round, the expensive serums aren't going to do anything. So I'll just show you a couple I've got actually.
Yeah.
I didn't show you yesterday, but this is what I'm using at the moment. This is by Kiehl's.
Right.
That's SPF 50, but it's a really nice sort of light, more gel formula, so it's not too
Mm.
heavy. So that's really good to put under your makeup. And then I've also got Trini BFF cream. That's brilliant. That's SPF 30. That's like a BB cream. So if you're wanting something very, very light in the daytime, tiny hint of colour, but it's going to give you that really good protection. It's got a bit of a blurring effect as well, like a bit of a filter on the face.
I have read a lot about that. I have heard really good things about
it. It is really good.
Yeah.
Really good. And another one that I'm using at the moment is by Arbonne. It's CC cream, and that's SPF 30. So that's a really lovely, tiny bit more coverage than tinted moisturizer, but it's going to give you that good protection.
Right.
Okay.
Those up,
so
yes.
Yeah, I will keep nagging.
Yeah. Good.
Right. So if you take your foundation,
yeah,
and put a little bit on the back of your hand.
Okay.
Then, so if we're wanting to get this really nice glow radiance to the skin, if you get your liquid highlighter, I know we've got the same one, Studio 10, it's fantastic. Put a little pump onto the foundation, and we're going to mix them together. So this liquid highlighter you can use under your makeup, mixed in with your makeup, or patted on top. I love to mix it with foundations to give a
that's
really...
one thing that I think I've been scared of, and probably quite a lot of women are scared of mixing stuff. And it makes such a difference. I would never have put these two together. I've always applied them separately, but it makes much more sense to put them together.
I know, that's what I do all the time, is I make potions. And another thing I do is I mix my their liquid Studio 10 liquid bronzer.
Yeah.
I'll mix that together. Quite often when I do a bride, you know, if they say they want that really radiant glow, I'll mix the foundation with the liquid highlighter. And if they want a bronzy glow, I'll mix it with the bronzy liquid.
Yeah.
And it gives the most amazing finish. Yeah. So don't be afraid to experiment.
No.
So now you've done that. So if you start, we always want to start in the center of the face. So a lot of people do what you've just sort of done, where you go dot, dot, and then they end up with loads of product near their hairline, and then they try and rub it in, and they end up with it all in the hairline, especially when you've got lighter hair like you.
Yeah.
So what I tend to do is start in the center. So like here, more so, a little bit here, and then you blend outwards, because most of the redness we have is more sort of centralized, and we're not so red on the outside. And it gives a lot more natural look if it fades out, you know, to the edges rather than a really heavy mask.
Do you always recommend people using a brush to do their foundation, to blend it in?
I think that you get a bit more control where you put it if you're doing it with a brush. And also, you know, if you've got any oils on your fingers, that's kind of adds that to the makeup. And I just think, yeah, the brush gives a lot better finish. What I like to do though is once I've got it all over, you can sort of press it in with your fingers just so it really melts into the skin. How do you find it? Do you find it looks better when you use a brush?
Yeah, I never used to, but I do now, and it definitely. And also, I think it stays better because it's really kind of blended in.
Yes. And what you can do is when you get to the hairline situation at the end, rub all the excess off the brush so there's hardly anything on it, and then you can kind of tickle it into the hairline a bit so that,
you're right, with grey hair I have to be so careful.
yeah,
Otherwise I just
and
end up with like a yellowy ring around
yes,
my hair.
and that's horrible. And
Yeah,
because usually I'm quite blonde when I'm not in lockdown roots, but then yeah, so I don't want it all in my roots,
yeah.
in my blonde hair. But yeah, then you can buff it into the edges and you don't end up with that really horrible line. Okay, so you've done that part already now. So I don't usually take my foundation down my neck, but what I tend to do is if my neck's a lot whiter than my face, I'll get a brush and just use a bit of bronzer just to bronze up the neck,
Right.
so it's the same colour as my face or chest.
Yeah.
So then if you take your concealer,
Yes.
both got the same one of that at the minute, haven't we, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, so put some, twist it up. This is the Maybelline Instant Anti-Age Eraser. So put some on the back of your hand. It comes with the sponge, but doing that, I'm kind of getting it where I don't necessarily want it. I want to be a bit more precise where we're putting it. So if you get the product on the brush, and then I think of it as 3 areas when I'm doing the under eye concealer. So I'm not just putting a massive load under here because we don't need all of that amount, and that's what's going to make us look a bit old, and it's all going to look a bit too dry and cakey. And I think that's a lot of mistakes that people make when they get older, is they just see people on YouTube or whatever putting loads there, and then it just doesn't look better for a more mature eye. So you're wanting to get it a little bit there in the inner corner where we get the darkness. So I would use a flat concealer brush. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so that little bit in the inner corner. And then where we actually have the dark circle, because actually we don't have dark circles all the way across the eye, it's just literally that tiny little part.
Yeah.
So put a bit there, and then get on the real tip of the brush, you're going to go right underneath the lower lashes, because that's where we've all got the little red blood vessels. So try to be really precise that it's just a tiny, tiny little line. Yeah. So that's going to really brighten. So you don't need it all around here, because this is where we tend to have the lines, and then it's all going to sit where we don't even need it.
Yeah.
So then use your little finger or your ring finger to gently press, sort of blend that in. Yeah, so we're not rubbing, because that's just going to rub the product straight off. And then any tiny amount you've got on your finger, then you can blend it across to the other areas where we didn't actually place it, and then it's all going to blend in together without being too heavy. How do you find that?
I've been guilty of completely doing the full swipe under my eye, and this looks much more natural, and I can see, I mean, presumably you can kind of do another layer if you've got darker circles.
Yes, absolutely. Just build it up a little bit, but only where you need it. I think the problem is with people just putting loads all over, but just build it up if you need to where it is. And then of course, if you've got age spots or dark pigmentation that you want to cover that's around here, you can add a little bit, but just add it where it is rather than the whole area. Yeah. And I think as well, you've done that light covering of your foundation, but if you've got any areas where you've got any dark spots or pigmentation or blemishes, then just use a separate concealer and just add a little bit. Have you got any blemishes or anything at the moment?
No, I haven't really. No, I haven't. No? Just lots of freckles.
Oh, right. So just put a little bit of setting powder on top of that, I would say. So get your fluffy brush again.
Yeah.
And get a loose setting powder. Yeah. And just take a small amount on the brush, not too much. but just before you put it on, just press it in gently in case it's settled in any creases. Yeah, and then just a little pat of powder. That should stop it settling in the creases again. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm using the Laura Mercier setting powder. And which one is it you've got at the moment?
Morph.
Morph, yeah.
Morph.
And how do you find that?
I've just started using it, so I'll be honest, I haven't used setting powder in the past, so this is a first experiment for me.
Now there's a powder that's really good, which I've not invested in yet, and it's by Terry, and it's actually a white powder, but it's very, very fine. It feels like silk, and it's got I think it's got like hyaluronic acid in it or something, but it's hydrating. So
right.
for a more mature, it's brilliant because it really it's almost like skincare in a powder. So I'm going to try that out. Yeah. So now I think if we do a little bit of bronzing, so if you get your bronzing gel and put a little bit on the back of your hand. And then use a brush like this one.
With that?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so it's kind of like a foundation brush, but it's a bit fluffier rather than the really flat ones. It's really good for kind of buffing and placing stuff like liquid bronzer. So take a little bit of that on your brush, and we're just going to go a little bit underneath the cheekbone. So feel where your cheekbones are, sort of, you know, with your fingers, feel where it is. And then you want to place this slightly underneath. So you can do the socky face to see where the natural shadow would be. Yeah.
So you don't want to go too high up, do you? It's literally just this middle bit.
Yeah, it's that little bit. And then when you've not got a lot left on the brush, if you buff it off the excess, you can kind of just slightly lift it a little bit, but it is mainly in the hollows of the cheeks. This is kind of just going to give a little bit of gentle shape into the face. We're not doing any harsh contouring here.
And what do you do? I think some women are quite scared of putting bronzer on when you get older. What would you recommend if I'd put too much on here? What's the best way of getting it off, the excess off? Just blending.
Yeah, I think, well, the main thing is just start off with a very tiny amount on your brush, not putting too much on and just building up gradually. I think some people they go in too heavy handed and they're like, oh, what am I going to do with it? And it's more difficult to take it off. So if you just build up slowly, then that's going to be better. But I find that the cream textures are easier to blend. Yeah. Because they will just sort of, if you buff it enough, it's just going to disappear, or it's, you know, going to move into the foundation, you know, blending with the foundation. Yeah. So yeah, I find that easier. So then if you're wanting to kind of give a bit more contour to the jawline, you can take a little bit sort of under the jaw here, and that's just going to give that little bit more angular shape. And where you've got a double chin, can you see mine hanging down a bit? You can put a little bit underneath there, and then that's going to make the sort of chin disappear backwards a little bit. You know, adding this contour, it's going to disappear a bit more. So that's what I tend to do. So then take a little bit, just keep adding a little bit. If you need any more, just take a tiny little pump, and then if you needed to, and then take it up to the temples. So this, do you meet in the middle? Do you literally go across, or do you do both sides? So I sort of I'm doing the side. So this is where the sun would naturally hit. Yeah. But then I just take a little bit across the top of the forehead as well, sort of into the hairline. But it's a very, very tiny amount. So it's, and yeah, because obviously you don't want that going into your lighter hair, do we? So then you could take a little bit down the sides of the nose, because the sun would naturally kind of catch, you see, on the sides of the nose there. I love that look, and this look is really kind of that lovely holiday glow. It's lovely. Yes, yeah. It is. So the reason I'm sort of shaping the face a little bit is because when we put the foundation on, you're kind of all one colour, and it sort of takes away any dimensions of the face. So this is just kind of adding a bit more shape and dimension to the face. Okay. So now you were saying to me about wanting the lips to look a little bit fuller.
Yeah, they've just started to get a bit thinner.
Yeah, me too. You could take a little bit of the bronzer and take it underneath the lower lip. So not right out to the corners, but just sort of in the middle, underneath. And what that's going to do is that's going to create a bit of a shadow to give the illusion that, your lips are so big, they've created a shadow.
Yeah, no, I can see that, but that's made a real difference already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could put a little bit in this centre part here, sort of the shadow bit that's, from your nose to your lip.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes this sort of part look a little bit fuller, creating that shadow. Okay, so we've done that. So then, if you feel like you need to, just wipe excess off the brush again and just blend so that you can't see where these lines have started and stopped. The worst thing we can see is, lines and where you've put it. So yeah, just give it a nice little blend. Yeah.
Good to go.
Okie dokie. Right, so now we'll do blush. So the best thing you can do if that radiant glow is to stick to more cream formulas rather than a powder blush. So like a cream blusher or a gel blusher. I know you don't have one at the moment, but you could use the lipstick, which does a fantastic job as well. So yeah, if you just take your lipstick.
Yeah, I've got my
lovely. Yeah. So take a little bit on your brush, or you could just directly put it straight on to the skin.
If you're putting it directly straight on, where do you put it? Literally on when you smile, that kind of cheeky bit there.
So if you smile, it goes sort of high up on the apples of the cheeks, not too low, because that could make it look like you've got redness around the nose area or drag the skin down. So you kind of want to keep it nice and high, but it is on the fleshy part rather than the bony bit. So just add a tiny little bit of that lipstick, because you can always go back and add more.
See, I love this trick because this is just so good for, especially if I'm going to castings and I need to just freshen up. I don't like carrying loads of things around with me, so to just have lipstick that I can use for lips and my cheeks is brilliant.
Yeah, it is. And then you don't even need a brush for that, because you could just take a little bit on your finger and then just blend it in with your finger. So you don't necessarily even need to take an extra brush to do that. Yep, perfect. So just take a little bit of that liquid highlighter again.
Yep.
And then take the same brush that we've used for your bronzer and your blusher.
Yep.
Take a small amount of that. I kind of like stipple it on the back of my hand, so it really isn't too much. And then you're gonna, if you just sort of use your sort of small finger, your little finger, and just feel where the bone is.
Yeah.
And then we just want to be patting a little bit of that highlighter on your bone, and that just sort of catches the light really nicely. But again, with it being a cream formula, it's going to give that lovely glow to your skin rather than that, sort of a shimmery, frosty highlighter that doesn't always look so natural. Now, I didn't do this before, but what you could do is take a little bit of that highlighter on a small brush like this one. I don't know if yours is clean now because you've been doing bronzer and eyeshadow with it.
Yeah, I've got a small one.
Or you could use a cotton bud. Is I take a little bit of the highlighter and you can put it just above the top of your lips where the Cupid's bow is.
Yeah.
And that, can you see me now? How that's given the illusion of slightly, it accentuates that Cupid's bow. So as we're getting older and that definition of the lip line goes, that kind of sharpens it up a bit, actually.
Yeah, I can see I've actually got some definition under there again.
Yeah, you could put a little bit on those lines as well, a tiny bit like there. But it's mainly just on the top of that Cupid's bow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right,
I'm
so
liking these tips, Sonia.
it's good, isn't
It
it?
is.
So now take your lip liner.
Because I think the thing is, you do your makeup for so many years in the same way, or I did, and then you kind of hit your 40s and forget that you maybe should start changing the way you do your look because your skin's changing.
Definitely. Well, I looked at a picture of myself, you know, when all these memories come up of Facebook,
Yes.
and there was a picture of me, and I think it was about 5 years ago, and I've got this black liquid liner on the top, I've got black eyeliner underneath,
Yeah.
and it didn't even look like I had much eyeshadow on, and it wasn't sort of softened or blended. It was very much, it wasn't bad. It didn't look bad because I've always been good at doing my makeup,
Yeah,
but
of course.
now if I did that, that would look horrendous.
Yeah.
Just in those, you know, going from 35 to 40, I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't in the makeup business and I didn't know what I was doing, I probably still would be doing that
Yeah.
because I wouldn't know necessarily any other options.
Yeah, no, I'm loving this because actually, and the other thing is, like I find department stores for older women quite daunting because they're not necessarily geared up to do makeup on women that are 40 and 50, some of the younger girls. So having a one-to-one like this is brilliant.
Yeah, and I think, you know, not all makeup counters are bad. Like they're absolutely brilliant. You know,
Yeah,
I worked on makeup counters, but I know what you mean because if they are younger, they don't have the experience of doing it on themselves
yeah,
on an older skin. And then if you don't get many older customers coming to your counter, you're just not going to get the practice so
no,
much. So, you know, so they'll know the theory, they'll know what, you know, it's supposed to do, but it's just the absolute practice of
yeah, of
being an
course.
expert in it,
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, take your lip liner. So it's
yeah,
like a nudie pink one, isn't it?
yeah.
And just, yeah, line your lips, follow the natural line.
So you don't go above if you wanted to make your lips bigger. You stay on the line.
You could, what I tend to do is do my actual lip liner, and then afterwards you can go ever so slightly outside of it. But I wouldn't really recommend, you know, drawing it too far out
No.
because it's just going to look fake and it's going to look messy, isn't it?
Yeah,
But just using the natural, because I find that when you do get older, it's that volume that goes
mm.
and the sort of shape. So just using the liner is just going to define the lips a bit more, and also
Yeah,
you lose color in the lips. You know, they get paler with age. So just even adding this sort of pinky nude hue, it's going to give that shape back anyway. Yeah, so
yeah,
that's going to help. So then I would fill in the rest of the lip
right.
with that. Because then if you're putting lipstick or gloss on and that wears off, you're not going to end up with this line left around. But it also helps lipstick stay on a bit longer if if you're filled in with liner.
Done.
Lovely. So then take your lip gloss.
I've left my lip gloss.
Oh, don't worry.
There's always one thing.
Don't worry, that's fine. So if you put your lipstick on the same colour that you put on your cheeks.
Right across or just in the middle?
No, have you got a lip brush?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so just follow exactly where you put that liner. So
Right.
the liner is like a guide of where you're going to be putting your lipstick, okay? And the good thing about using that lipstick as your blusher, you know it's going to completely match your lipstick.
Yeah, and when I did it yesterday practicing, that made such a difference to the way it all just blended in nicely to have the same tone.
Yes, yeah. So to make the lips look a little bit plumper, a lip gloss is great.
Hmm.
It sort of catches the light and yeah, it just makes them look, yeah, plumper.
Yeah.
What you could do is you haven't got any gloss there at the moment, is
No, I
just
haven't.
take a little bit of that highlighter again, the magic
Yeah.
highlighter. And take a little bit of that on your lip
Yeah.
brush, and you could put a little bit of it in the center of your lower lip.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's nice.
It's good, isn't it? So if you
Yeah,
just put it in the centre, it gives the illusion of a bigger lower lip.
yeah. That's made a real difference.
Yeah. So, yep, so use the lip gloss if you're wanting to, but yeah, that's a good trick. But you could put the lip gloss on and then just put a tiny bit of that highlighter on top of that as well to really, yeah, make that difference.
Yeah,
So now you've already done your concealer underneath and set
yeah,
that. Just put a tiny little bit of mascara on the lower lashes.
right.
So with your lashes, I would put like two coats of mascara on the top and then just one on the bottom, just so it's a bit more natural looking, because you don't want thick spidery legs at the bottom.
No, I find sometimes putting them on my bottom, I find it quite difficult to get it so it doesn't look too clumpy.
Yeah. I tend to use a waterproof mascara so that it doesn't transfer to the bottom.
Yeah.
Another thing I do is I like to get like a clear gel mascara. This one's from Benefit, and I like to put a little bit of that on top. And I find that it stops my mascara transferring. Sometimes even waterproof mascaras still transfer.
Mm.
So I'll put a bit of clear gel on top and it seems to help it that bit more
Yeah.
as well. Yeah. So I think we just need a bit of setting spray now.
Right, yes.
Yep. So yeah, the setting spray is just going to keep your makeup in place, but also I find that it just helps blend the rest of the makeup together, like melts it all, as one, so that you've got, your layers of foundation and bronzer, highlighter, blusher. It just kind of makes it all part of the same thing, if you know what I mean.
This is a
And it
much
gives a
more
glow.
polished look than I've ever managed to achieve. I really like it.
Oh, good. So did you find it easy to follow then?
Yeah, I really did, and I've picked up some really good tips. I really like the tips about where to put the contouring, because I've always been really bad at putting it just down the centre of my nose, and actually it should be down the sides. The eyeshadow on the eye line has made a massive difference, and also the lip tips,
Yeah.
contouring into the lips, and yeah, so they're really things that I will definitely carry forward when I do my makeup.
Oh, brilliant. So I think it's a little bit difficult to see it properly on Zoom, so that to show everybody who's watching, I
Yes.
think we could have a bit of a before and after selfie,
Yeah, we'll
and
do.
then they can really see how your skin's looking. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
it's been
really,
really
that
great
was
to
really
do this.
great. Thank you. And so easy to do over Zoom. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Oh, well,
Sonia.
you're very welcome, and I'm sure hopefully I will see you soon on another
Yeah.
photo shoot.
Yes, I'm going to go and do some shoots now. Now I've got my glam makeup.
Yeah. Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Sonia. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
So I hope you enjoyed that lesson that I just did with Rachel. It was lovely to speak to her, and I'm so glad that I could help her with her makeup, and that when she goes to her casting she's going to feel a lot more confident now. So what I would usually do when I do a lesson is I have my face chart and I would fill out all the products we've used and what shades I've used of all the different brands. So I'm going to do that for Rachel now, because there's a few things that she doesn't have so that I can recommend for her. So thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope that you've learnt some tips as well. In the comments below I'm going to list some of the products and brands that I've spoken about today. Just please leave a comment if you've got any questions, anything I can help you with, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel and like this video, and I shall be back very, very soon. Thank you. Bye.